How's it going, guys? I'm back. It's been a few weeks. You know, the leaving cert, well, it's been about a month. I had the leaving cert going on, and then I had a few things afterwards, and obviously I finished off a video I had for randomized because I was like, it's a 5-week break anyway, and I have to get stuff sorted. I got this cabinet and put all my stuff. It's a nice, neater setup than the shelves, which I doubt you saw because I changed the angle as well. We're trying this out for a while. Eventually the wall's going to be done. There's going to be wallpaper and some good posters. I have a few posters I'm really looking forward to putting up and stuff like that. I'm very excited to see what the new design for the wall looks like when it's all finished. And of course, there's been a lot of stuff that happened while I was away. There was the One Piece live action trailer, which we're going to get into pretty soon. But there was also 1086, which I didn't talk about because it was during my exams. And I was like, man, I was just after that maths exam, which, my God, I hope that went well. I don't know. But, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, we gotta move on, focus on this, so I didn't bother covering it. But then, and we also have the anime episode, which I'm going to jump into right now. It was the first anime episode of One Piece to be animated by a foreign director. And you know what? It was Henry Thurlow. This guy, he shows up a lot on the One Piece podcast, and he talks about animator issues and different things about anime, you know, being an animator in Japan. And he doesn't only say the issues, he says when things we think of and we hear reports, he'll talk about how, you know, this is a bit overblown, you know, people just work hard or whatever. And the thing is as well, because he backs up a lot of his words as well, because he's so hard working as well, we can tell by what he talks about and his knowledge of the industry and even the quality of his episode. You know, and you gotta respect it. It's a very good job. And hopefully he continues to be recognized in Toei Animation, and it's very good to see. He's also very funny on Twitter. Follow him if you want some funny jokes and just some witty replies. He's a very funny guy. But that episode, the Big Mom episodes, all of them combined, we're going to talk about all of the main 3 of those episodes that happened while I was off. They were really good. I really enjoyed it. The law stuff for me was really good, but also they made Kid look pretty good compared to the actual manga that didn't really show the damage he did. But I still think Law came out looking better. You know, there's nothing you can do with that. Law came out looking better. He's better. I'm sorry, Kid's just not that, and I'm still saying that. It's still respectable, and I liked the episode. They put a lot of effort into making Kid look good, but still, man, Law still looks way better. I'm sorry. It was brilliant though. Absolutely brilliant. There was a load of really cool moments. I can't remember the name of it because I just called it the railgun. Kid's railgun was fantastic, and the moment to show that they are able to deal with Conquerors, because we see that was Conqueror's hockey that she was using to stop the gun. So the fact they're able to deal that damage shows they are at a similar level to Luffy, more so than we originally thought. But I think for my top 30, I gave Kid a really bad placement. I'm not going to sit here and disagree, because I did kind of, you know, undersell him. I put him 24th and I put Law 12th. I still think there's a massive gap in their skill, but it's not as much as I was saying there. Definitely not. But I have to say, it was a fantastic episode, all of those episodes combined. And I think Big Mom, obviously, looking like an absolute beast. I said this when the chapter came out. This was one of her best performances. It's really hard for me because I rewatched Whole Cake as well a little while ago, and she works very well in Whole Cake as a demonic creature, just pure chaos. As I said, one of the only bad moments for her was the amnesia stuff and the mothering thing, which, to be fair, wasn't as bad in the anime. I think they kind of glossed over it, which fair enough. But it did look like she actually died. You know, it did look like Big Mom is actually gone for good. They kind of clarified that. It showed up very clearly, and you know what? Fair enough. That's all sorted. But the episode was brilliant. There was a lot of really good segments. There was a segment as well where Law was just teleporting around and just doing little bits of damage, and that was really good. Obviously, the Shock Willy moment was fantastic. You know, how far he was able to bring that sword was a surprise to us all. You know what I mean? But it was fantastic. And then the Corazon moments. Whenever Corazon shows up, I always get a bit sad. You know, I don't know, hits me in the feels, just like Robin's backstory. You know what I mean? But it was very good. And I think, of course, the voice actors did a brilliant job, because I never bring that up that much, but they did. They did a fantastic job. I think Big Mom's voice actor is going to be sorely missed, because she puts so much emphasis on that character, and it really brings that character to life, and I enjoy it a lot more. That's one character that I think, you know, it's just brilliant. Like the voice is so iconic, and of course, most One Piece voices are so iconic. But I think Big Mom, if she ever shows up again, it'd be great to hear that voice again because it's just so it really feels like a chaotic mother. You know, that voice kind of sticks in my head when I think of mothers with the wooden spoon running around. Do you know what I mean? Nah, I really wish they gave Big Mom a wooden spoon. It'd be so iconic, then, man. Oh, imagine if she was holding her, bringing around a wooden spoon. I don't know one outside of Ireland and maybe the UK will understand what that is, but man, it was a form of punishment. When we were growing up, man, you know, your grandmother or your mother would used to be like, oh, if you did something bad, they'd whack the wooden spoon against the table and frighten the living life out of you. And oh man, so iconic. I'm not gonna lie, Big Mom needs that. She does. But nah, it was really good. Now, on to the live action, because this is a lot to be said about this. I enjoyed this trailer, I will say. Initially, I have to say, Luffy's voice wasn't jiving with me. I was like, it's a little off, I don't know. But I think it was just unfamiliarity because as I was talking about iconic voice actors there, Luffy's voice actor in the actual anime is literally the best voice of all time. Alright? Like, not the best voice ever. The best voice. Like, let it, like, you know what I mean? It's the best voice. I just love that voice. So it's very iconic. Although I will say, after watching the trailer about 3 times, I've watched it more obviously, but about at the 3rd time I finally got used to it. And I think if they're going to do a good live action, they're going to do it here. It's going to be a bit weird, and of course it is. It's going to be a bit uncanny, but I think if they can do the story right, at least it's a way for people to get into the series, right? Because we still have the original there. As much as I would like it to be better, the original to be like, you know, to have a One Piece Kai sort of deal, it's still there, and the manga's still there. The manga's still great, and the live action, if nothing else, can get people interested in the series. And we'll get some actual buzz from maybe an older audience who still doesn't like anime. So at the end of the day, it can only be a positive, right? And people are giving out about stupid stuff like, oh, these characters don't match this, or certain elements this character doesn't, you know, isn't the same or whatever. But like, listen, lads, who cares? They look as much like the characters as they possibly can. And especially with proportions like heights and like things like that, different proportions to things, like, do you realize how stupid you are actually worrying about that stuff? These are real people, like, you know what I mean? And they look like the characters, you know, as best they can. I will say, 1 or 2 of the wigs, I'm like, maybe make the hair a bit darker. It does look a little cartoony on some of them because it looks way too bright. But I think they will, because Zoro's wig looks about right to me. So I think it might just be lightened in certain scenes. Now that's, again, just talking about nitpicking, that is nitpicking, but the reason I am nitpicking here a wee bit is just because I think they did a really good job. I think Gum Gum is going to look awkward no matter what you do. I don't think they can do anything about that, but I hope they kind of standardize it in a way where it makes it, you know, easy to do for them. I think technology is only going to get better and CGI is only going to get better, and they're putting millions into each episode, so I'm certain they'll do a good job. As I said, the cast is brilliant. I really love the cast. I'm just hoping they give Arlong and Baratier the right amount of time. People were talking about possibly them skipping Syrup Village or like mixing in Orange Town and Syrup Village. And to be honest, I would be okay with that because as long as you get the main part of the story done, that's all that matters, right? So skipping like an arc like Syrup Village where not that much important happens, as long as you introduce Usopp in some way that resembles, you know, the lying character and have Yasop be mentioned, you got all the main stuff. Kuro doesn't need to be mentioned. They can find they go and marry some other way. You can change that sort of stuff because that's not really that relevant, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and I'm excited to see what they do with it, to be honest. People were giving out about the Sea King. I didn't understand that. The Sea King looked sick. I thought, you know, I kind of get it. It doesn't look real, but we don't have a creature like that in real life, so it looks a bit too large for life, maybe. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, what I was saying was the Sea King, yeah, I thought it looked good. I thought everything in this trailer looked good. The sets were good and everything. I'm just really excited. August 31st, really good. I'm going to talk about each episode as it comes out, you know, as they do with the chapters. We're going to do it with the episodes. Still the same style. I'm not going to show footage. I know it randomized when I have footage, I show it, but I just prefer talking face to face when I talk about One Piece and that stuff. And I think this angle's better for that type of stuff, so I'm hoping, you know, we get going with that and it's good. But we'll see. I'll see what I end up doing. But I'm really happy with this trailer, and I think although it might turn out bad, I'm confident even if it does, it's still going to be good enough to get people interested in the series, so they go either watch the anime or read the manga. And if it doesn't do that, at the very least, it's getting its name out there, and people can defend it then, and little bits that people may have liked about the live action, they can then transfer that over to when they want to push them a bit further to watch that TV show. As long as it's better than Cowboy Bebop, I think will be alright. Okay? And if nothing else, they'll make some good memes, alright? Let's be real. If nothing else, they'll make some good memes and you'll have good YouTube compilations. So at the end of the day, I can't really see many negatives to it. Because if you're really not into it, just don't watch it. To be honest. Because at the end of the day, the original's always going to be there. Right? But on to the newest chapter, since I've been talking about everything else. This chapter was crazy. We got Shanks' dad revealed, it looks like. And I really like this guy because he looks goofy as hell, but he also looks really serious. It's kind of a good mix. But I'd actually like this. I didn't want Shanks to turn out to be a celestial, or not a celestial dragon. But now, as I'm sitting here, right, and I'm sure people have talked about this before, but man, Buggy being like Rox's kid would just turn their entire dynamic into an interesting format, where it's like, okay, so Roger took up, Rox's kid and a celestial dragon and raised them together and they became brothers, like to show the power of to show how, the inherited will and the sins of the father, keep that plot line going. I think that would be brilliant, right? But also this chapter shows that Sabo is an absolute beast, man. I can't remember where I had him. I don't know if I had him top 10. I think I had him just outside of the top 10. But man, he didn't do much damage to the Gorosei, but he still escaped with Vivi and Wapple. Well, no, separate to Vivi and Wapple, but he escaped. You know what I mean? And that's fantastic. We also get him talking to the revolutionaries, which, to be honest, Dragon, you're still talking and no action here, lad. I need to see you do something, fella. Like, honestly, people are talking about a Void Century flashback. When Dragon shows up, we need a Dragon flashback because he has to have done something to make him the most wanted criminal in the world. Like, because Luffy declared war on the world government, only got 300 million. So, like, Dragon's event that got him to be the most wanted man in the world has to be something big. I just can't see where they go unless he turns out to be involved in an incident we already know. Like, maybe, I don't even know what age he is, so I don't even know if it's possible for him to be somehow involved in God Valley. And I know his name's Dragon, right? And we know dragons are on God Valley in some form, or that's the theory going around at the very least. So maybe he was involved that way or something like that. And I honestly don't know, but I'm incredibly interested to see. And I think Garling, or whatever, I can't pronounce his name very well. Garling as a new character to take out Celestial Dragons. It's fantastic because this is going to bring Doflamingo back in the story, definitely, because he's taken out a Don Quixote. And Doflamingo's not going to take that standing down. And we also see his Seraphim, man. And his Seraphim just looks so menacing, my guy. It actually, like, if I scroll back up here, his Seraphim looks... Oh, my lord. He looks so good. He just looks like he's about to cause absolute fucking chaos. And I love it, man. He's going to be such a... It's going to be so good, because we were talking about Big Mom being just chaos in general. Like, that was the big thing about her. But Doflamingo, man, when Doflamingo's done right, he's pure chaos. And I cannot wait for that. Yeah. This chapter is just setting up for a lot, we got more of Emu and all that stuff. I don't know. I feel like now they're setting up for Emu to be a fella, but I still think Emu being a woman would be far better. I mean, obviously, I was all about Emu being Lily, which looks like it's not the case. But I just think Emu having a crush on one of the princesses and just destroying the world because of that, or ruining the world because that, is stupid. He needs to have an actual reason. Like, I cannot. If it's another bloody love reason, I'm gonna be super frustrated because it will be super, super stupid, like Obito all over again. Do you know what I mean? And obviously there was a lot more going on with Obito, but like still, I don't want Love to be the player of the main villain for this entire series. Now, obviously, if Blackbeard's gonna kill Emu, then I guess, you know what, I don't care, because But like, still, it's sort of the thing where it's like, come on, you know? I don't know. I want it to be an actual reason, like an actual betrayal by Joy Boy or something. Some disagreement that does not involve a woman. You know what I mean? And obviously, if Lily is the reason for it, but it's not love, then that's entirely fine. Maybe she betrayed Emu in some other way, like she killed a family member, or she killed his lover, right? I just don't want it to be, oh, she rejected me, and now I'm gonna destroy the world they love so much, right? That's just something I do not want to see. To be honest, I want it to be better. Realistically, I want it to have a better motivation, and obviously, I am not a writer, so I guess yeah. But it's just such an overused thing, and I don't like it, really, to be honest. Because usually when romance isn't a big focus of a show, having it being the main reason the final villain or a big villain does his actions, it never ends well, right? Because it's just like, what are you doing? Why is this the reason? You've been around for 800 years and you never got over it. Like, what the hell is wrong with you, fella? Move on, you know? Because that's the thing. Because although no matter how strong love is, 800 years, it still seems a bit like, oh, what are you doing, man? You're actually ruining people's lives for that stupid shit. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Now, it could be a different reason. Like, I don't know. It could be a different reason. Again, as I said, Lily might have killed someone. Lily might have taken away his powers or something more interesting. And obviously, we hear that the poneglyphs are way more important than we originally thought. And I also think, now that we know that Vivi is a D, she has to come back into the crew. And I've been talking about this for weeks about how much I need this in my life for Vivi to come back to the crew. All right, I get it. All right, we got Jinbei, and the crew's kind of stacked as it is already. But come on, man, I need those interactions, bro. I know I was a big fella of like, oh, she's gonna be captured, and the Straw Hats are gonna come flying into Marijoa and just be like, you can't attack my crewmate, and like Nami was gonna hold out a hand, and Vivi was gonna grab onto it, and they'd escape Marijoa that way and head to Elbaf. That was my big theory before they went to Egghead. But now this is even more interesting, and I'm excited to see. We also get Sabo doing more stuff. I don't know, man. I'm interested in, you know, Figureland and all that stuff and Shanks, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I don't think Shanks is going to be the one to challenge him, to be honest. Right? I think Shanks might go down earlier or challenge a bigger foe. I just think, although this person is related to Shanks, I do not think this is his battle to fight. I feel like he might be a combatant for Zoro or a combatant for Dragon. Because I still think if Emu's going to die, right? If Emu's going to be killed by Blackbeard, I think Dragon will fight Emu. That's my big takeaway. And the more the chapters continue on, this is what I think. Even with their talk about the poneglyphs being super important. Which also, if the poneglyphs are the vein of your existence, which is basically what they said in this chapter, why in the name of God do you only have Robin at 900 million? Why do you not have her like higher than Luffy? Because she can read those poneglyphs, man. You need to actually put that into action. Now that he's taken down Kaido, you know he's a serious threat. So I really don't know where they're going to go with that. Like, as I go on, the bounty system makes no sense. And you're like, what's going on? I guess you kind of just got to take it. I just take it as you will, right? But my God, man. I don't know. I feel like he has to fight Shanks. Because it's going to be like how dare you betray, you know, your kind. You're filthy. You're a disgrace. You're worse than the scum. You're worse than the scum underneath the earth. But, I do hope he's an interesting character and not just like Green Bull. I hope there's more depth to his character to see where that came from. You know, if he was the reason, more so than Rocks, that the God Body got destroyed, what that's going to do, how that's going to be focused on, you know? I don't know. I think it'd be fascinating to see if maybe his hubris caused God Valley to be destroyed, and then he kind of became a slave and he worked his way up, and now he's kind of brainwashed, you know? I think that would be an interesting take on it, where that wasn't his original view, and then he was brainwashed, and then he heard about Shanks, and that got him angrier, and then he was easier to brainwash because they kept Shanks in the loop. Because you'd think if he hates people who go against the Celestial Dragon so much, and yet Shanks is still allowed to meet with the Gorosei, I don't know. I really think this is gonna like Shanks has to be high up, right? He does, and then like I don't know. I thought this guy might confront Shanks in some regard, and at the end of the series, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like he'd be a better opponent for a revolutionary or something. Because he's about punishing the celestial dragons. Hell, even if he's the return of Doflamingo, if that's where that happens. But I don't know. There's a lot I could say about this. I don't know. I feel like actually now that I think about it, it'd be perfect. Perfect Doflamingo opponent. We were talking about this earlier, but because he took out a Don Quixote, oh man, he has to be taken out by Doflamingo. Forget about Shanks for a minute. But speaking, we very quickly before I end this, I do want to talk about Shanks' future opponents. Obviously, Shanks, he might come up against the Gorosei, he might come up against the Emu. We also, by the way, we got the names of the Gorosei, which they're all planets, of course, but I don't know. Them being combatants is strange to me. I still feel like they might be part of Emu, you know what I mean? Part of his subconscious or something. Like the creatures from Full Metal Alchemist, like Pride and all that, where it's like part of Emu's ability and they're not actual people or something. I don't know. I feel like that might be the case. I don't know, to be honest. But I think it'd be interesting though, because they turn into similar creatures like Emu, but then it could just be Oda's silhouette format. That's the thing, you never know. But yeah, this chapter was insane in so many levels. There was so much that happened in the past few weeks, and I cannot wait for this new chapter in a couple of weeks. We're gonna talk so much about it. With that being said, see you all next time. Let me know what you thought about the new angle. If you don't like it, if you prefer it, let me know.